Hey, I know you really hate math, but today I'm gonna try this. So, there's this branch of mathematics that is called linear algebra, and in linear algebra, something that you see often or something that is talked about often is linear independency. And linear independency basically it just means or it just entails something that would look like we are in a space Rn, and in Rn, let's say in this space we have vectors. Let's say we have two vectors in Rn, and these vectors are going to have elements like a1, a2, all the way to an, and then the second one is going to have maybe b1, b2 up to bn, and n can be any number. And for so that it's easier, I'm just going to say that n is equal to 3. So now we are in R3. And you could have 1, 1, 1 as one of the vectors. It's just easier to write it this way. And you could have maybe 3, 3, 3. So if they ask you if these two vectors are linearly independent, the easiest way to look at it is to see if they are parallel. And if they are parallel, in other words, it just means is one vector a multiple of the other vector or is it not? And the easiest way to just look at that is to look at the elements. So we see that we have 1 all the way and then we have 3 all the way, which means you could just write this as 3 times 1, 1, 1. And 1, 1, 1 is the vector that we had earlier. So it just means that those are not linearly independent. And because these vectors are not linearly independent, something that you can also say is that they are going to span the same space. They are going to span, so span of 1, 1, 1 is going to be equal to span of 3, 3, 3. And in other words, it's just unnecessary to have these two vectors existing. It's not useful that you have one vector and the other because they're just basically the same vector. And the idea that it's spanning the same space, it just means if you were to put these two vectors together and you're trying to get to a place, imagine it's the real world, you're trying to get to a place and one has this vector and the other has the other vector, they're all going to get to the same place. One might get to that place faster, but it all ends in the same place. Like every single point that I'm going to go through, the other one is also going to go through. And the point of me saying this is that I know for so long I had longed to have someone that would just be like me, someone that was gonna love me like I love others, the same way I express my love, someone that was gonna understand the world the same way I understand the world. But then what I realized is that it's kind of a waste of a vector. I mean, why would you want to have two vectors if those two vectors are just the same thing? What's the point? Because what new thing can it bring to your life for having that extra vector? And to me, it became like that small change, like instead of 1, 1, 1, it became that 1, 1, 1.3. And with this, I get to see more of the world. Because now these two vectors are no longer parallel. It's just this small difference made on one of the coordinates. And this is a huge thing. It's a huge thing because now these two vectors, when they are together, they span a whole plane. They span a whole plane when a plane has infinite lines. So in the world that I wanted, a world of just a line, now I get to live in a plane. And I know this is so silly. It is so silly, but I hope I can make my point. And the point that I'm trying to make is that I am so happy that we are linearly independent, and this allows me to see more of the world through you. It allows me to see more of life through you in ways that I would have never seen. Alors, joyeux anniversaire. Je sais pas si my math reads did it, but for you, my baby, I'm gonna sing in French. Et donc, ce que j'essaie de dire, on a nos différences à nous. I know there was an easiest way to say it. I would have said something like, I'm so grateful that we are different. And through our differences, I get to see life in a new way. And I get to see all these things that I wouldn't see if you were exactly the same as me. It's not practically possible, but you know what I mean. And what I'm trying to say is that I'm just grateful for all the life that I've got to experience, all the new ways that I've got to see the world just by having you and me and you being in this world together, being in this space together. And thank God for that coincidence that is not really coincidence because it was part of God's plan that made us meet. And now I can say confidently that we are linearly independent. But the best thing about that is that you get to span a whole plane in this big world. I don't know how many dimensions this world we could give it in sense of the different personalities that exist out there. But je suis vraiment, vraiment joyeuse le Seigneur. Ok. Alors ça, c'est mon joyeux anniversaire. Je sais, tu détestes les maths. Joyeux anniversaire à toi. J'essaie de faire les français, c'est difficile. Ok. Ce que j'essaie de dire, c'est que je suis vraiment contente de t'appeler mon ami. Et comme tu le dis toujours, on trouvera toujours du moyen pour nous retrouver. Is that a thing that they say? You know what I mean? Bye. That was quite embarrassing.